What's up, Vida Nation?
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, we are back for a podcast tonight that we have been requested to do for many, many months now. So we're excited. We're going to get to it pretty quickly. I do want to announce that we are headed to New Mexico. And on February 26th, we're going to be at Santa Rosa. February 27th, we're going to be at Western New Mexico for both men and women. On February 28th, we'll be at Northeastern New Mexico for the ladies. And on March 1st, our last day, we'll be at P&M for 2 services to see the men. So we're excited. We can't wait to come. And we're taking most everybody's going to get to make it, and maybe a special guest.
Or two.
That's right. All right. So I'm going to show you again our mob tour dates from Hog Mob. We're going to be with them this year at 9 different cities, different city every month. And we start in Phoenix, Arizona in April, go to Savannah, Georgia in May, Georgetown, Texas, Pueblo, Colorado, San Diego, California, Kansas City, Nashville, Charlotte, and Sacramento. We are lining up a prison to visit on each of those tour dates, and hopefully we will see you soon. If we don't catch you this time, we'll catch you the next time around.
And tell your family about that, so maybe your family can hit those dates, on the outside.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Carl. And if your family is interested and they're in the area or willing to drive where we're going to be, there's going to be every weekend that we're there's going to be a concert. There's going to be street ministry. So I would encourage you to check out Hog Mob's social media pages, and you can see more about what's in each of those cities as far as the events, the locations, et cetera. So that's a great idea. I encourage them to do that. Okay, so we've gotten some probably letters about catfish.
Okay.
I haven't got one yet.
You haven't got any letters about catfish?
Not yet.
Wow.
Okay, well, I'm really expecting people to vote yes or no on catfish. And I'm putting up right now, in honor of us going to New Mexico, I'm putting up the green Hat's chili enchiladas and the red Hat's chili enchiladas. And everywhere in New Mexico, they always ask you green or red.
Green.
They don't,
Green all day.
Yes, the red sauce is gross.
No, the red is great.
No.
I like them both.
False.
Like this plate right here, Chris, you got to put that back up. This plate is perfect because you get a little bit of green, a little bit of red. It's like spicy Christmas right there. I'm all about it.
Come on.
Okay, so if you have a vote, if you're from New Mexico or ever been there, you can let us know, green or red, okay? So we do have some shout outs. I want to shout out, first of all, an old friend, family member of ours, extended church family, Scotty Womack at Hutchins Unit. Scotty, great to get your letter, man. Love you. Praying for you. Scotty spent many nights in our home in
Real
Henderson.
Vida OG right there.
Yeah, he's a Real Vida OG. He was there at all the UFC nights, one Saturday night a month, where we'd have 30 or 40 people in our living room. Those were pretty hectic. Sometimes we go boxing out in the garage after... in between
Do you
fights.
make brownies with the powdered sugar on top?
Oh, yeah. I would always make the brownies with powdered in guacamole for those people that
With
like
Doritos?
guacamole.
Yes.
With Doritos, absolutely. So I want to also shout out Logan Malinowski at CCNO in Fulton County, Ohio. She's close to my daughter, Cassie. And so I just want to say hello to Logan. I also want to shout out Robert Rennie in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much for your love, your prayers, your support. I got your letter. I'm praying for you. And Sean Barclay in Hughes Unit, thank you so much for your encouragement. It meant a lot to me. And I very much appreciate those of you who are praying for me and supporting us. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Anybody else got some shout outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out Alicia Dahl at NCDC Casper, Wyoming, George Vasquez at Sacramento Main Jail. And also I want to shout out Jennifer Apolito, I believe is how you say this. She sent in a great letter and this really cool drawing.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's so cute.
Yeah, I really like her. So, yeah, I like that drawing. So, I wanted to shout her out. Also, I wanted to shout out an old friend of ours, too. I just so happened to think about that. Christy Duran, which is kind of my fill-in mother for a while. And, we heard you was watching the podcast and just want to let you know that love you, miss you. You're in our prayers. And
amen.
Shout out to
Thinking of you.
Yeah, I love you, Christy.
Okay, I have some shout outs too. I got Mercedes Guerrero. Okay. James Harden. Jonathan
I don't think
Benson,
I said it much better. Sorry.
Anthony D'Agostino in the Corrigan Correctional Center. Laurel Johnson, who has a brother, Joshua Johnson, at JTC, and a fiance locked up at Javaris Wilson at Vito, and Aaron Canaday. Those are my shoutouts.
Cool. Well, we also have some great map pins this week. We got to talk about Vida Nation.
I cannot believe there's still more.
No.
Like, I'm like, surely these are all already on the map. And then I check it and there's like one, and I'm like, okay, it'll just be the one. I can't believe there's this many.
And, for a while, because we kind of reached the maximum tablet area, and we maybe would have 1 or 2 map checks a week. And now every time you send this list, it looks like, a whole sheet of notebook paper, basically.
And it's hard. I'm like, is my mind just tripping? Because, there's the same city in like 100 different areas, like you have one city in one state. So I'm like, I recognize the city, but it's in the wrong state.
And sometimes the ones that you send me are ones that we already have, but they're ones that were on the tablet that took us off.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we haven't seen mail from them in a long time, but they were already on the map, but they're back in the Vida Nation fold. So anyway, here's some of our map pins this week. These are all brand new pins. Rawlings, Wyoming. And at first, I was just so busy getting ready for this podcast, I didn't think y'all were all going to get pictures of your city. But Andy convicted me. She convicted me. It's thanks to Andy. Everybody gets a picture. Jasper County in Jasper, Texas, a courthouse I have been in many moons ago. Lovelock, Nevada. And there's actually right under that rock escarpment, there is the prison, apparently, that O.J. Simpson was in. So whoever wrote to us from Lovelock, maybe you're a cell down from where O.J. used to be. I don't know. There's Lake Charles, Louisiana. It looks beautiful, but you can tell if you could actually be there, like there's probably 3 million mosquitoes contained in this picture.
You know there is.
Yeah. Laconia, New Hampshire. It looks like a beautiful city. And Wharton, Texas. Another courthouse that I have been in. All right. Okay, so we're going to take a music break, and then we're going to come back with some content that I think all of you guys are going to be interested in. Let's see you on the other side.
That's who I am now. But heaven called me by name. Snap tight, try to pray but I lost the fight. Every choice like a chain on me, every sin carved in memory. Told myself I'm too far gone, God don't reach where I've been that long. But in the dark I heard a whisper, through the guilt, through the shame. Not my silent dark. Seen hope fade to a dying spark, but one old Bible with worn out pages turn these bars into holy places. Every line like a light in me, freedom in John 3:16. Through the tears, through the anger, through the weight of my past, you were there in the silence, love that holds me fast. I am not my number, I am who you save. Grace broke through these walls when I called your name. Chains hit the ground when your mercy found me. Lost but now I'm free. I'm not inmate 3116. I'm a child you redeemed. Grease bars can't hold what the cross has claimed. For God so loved the world. No cell too dark, no soul too stained. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. I am not my number, I am who you saved. Death lost its power when you took my shame. These chains are dust, your mercy crowned me. Grace is all I see, no longer inmate 3116. I'm forever redeemed. They still call my number, but heaven calls my name.
Hey. This for the ones walking laps, thinking it's over. It ain't over.
Steel door sled, like a judge still talking. Boots on concrete, every step feel hard. Cold draped dinner, same great view. Same regret sitting right next to you. OG said, homie, climb downhill. Gon' me truth in the dark, make a star turn red. I laughed back in, I was lost in pride. Now I read red letters just to stay alive. Came in hard with a name on the street. Now I'm just a number in state blue was geek. But God won't tears with a strong man cry. Seen hope show up where the life is dying.
Visa.
Y'all time testimony. It's the move on, the lost been on it. It's only for my soul I ain't on. King still sit on the highest gone.
From the pit
big to the grace you showed me. Class can't hold with the cross set free. Even locked down, I can find a seat. God would've knew it for me. Mail call slow when your people fade. Some to write back, some just afraid. Flown on the wall, got tears in the core. Last words heard was trust in the Lord. Seen fights pop off over pride and pain. Seen grown men drown in invisible rain. But I seen peace in the 6x9, where a man met Christ doing double lifetime. Chaplain said freedom, start in the heart. Not the date, that's the real first shot. So I fell on my knees on the cold stone floor. Found more hope than I ever had before. Dark time testimony. It's to move on and lost and alone. It's on ever my soul ain't on. King still sit on the highest throne. From the beat to the grace he showed me. Past can't hold with the cross set free. Even locked down, I can finally see. My owner knew it for me. If you hear this through a Buster Tears speaker, breathe. You still got purpose. Your heaven still know your name. Sons gave years, God gave mercy. World said dead, cross said worthy. Stone cold past, can't curse me. Blood still cover me dirty. Gate might open, might not soon. Either way I'm walking free in this room. Cause chains bought first in the soul of a man. When he finally trusts God's plan. It's that your time testimony. Where they still reach through the razor wire slowly. Can't stop with the light on me. Heaven already set me free. From the pit to the grace you show. Past can't hold with the cross set free. Even locked down, I can finally see. God hold eternity for me. Oh, still breathe behind bars. Hope still breathe behind bars.
All right, guys, we're back. So I would say back by popular demand, but we don't do things here at Real Vida TV by popular demand. Right. Although we have gotten hundreds of letters over the last few months. I think it's probably been since August.
No, man. Then they got their free world people contacting us on social media.
I know.
YouTube comments everywhere.
Yeah.
Where's this at?
And it's so funny because I think maybe early on we referred to them as End Times podcasts. And so now everyone, when they write, they're like, when are you going to do another End Times podcast? Yeah. Which I don't know exactly how I feel about that. And I'll explain why in a second. But I guess it's what everyone knows it by.
Right.
I just want to say, you know, it's not by popular demand. It's by the fact that there's a great need for it.
Right.
And the most important thing to us is that you be ready for what's coming. Like if you don't know that a storm is coming, if you don't know that the hurricane warning is out, you're not going to be boarding up the windows to your house. You're not going to be buying milk and bread, or you're not going to be fleeing to the relative's house. Like you're not going to take steps to protect yourself because you're not aware of the danger that is coming. And there is danger that is already here and that is on the way, not just for those of us that are followers of Jesus, but for the whole world. And so my sincere hope and prayer is that the things that we share will help to prepare God's people behind bars and their loved ones for what is coming, that we'll be strong in our faith, that we'll make decisions and make a commitment to seek God with all our heart, to not waste our time on vain and silly things and be focused on the important things, preparing ourselves and our families spiritually. Like you can buy some of these things we're going to talk about tonight. You can put money back in the bank or under your mattress. You can buy silver and gold coins. You can buy freeze-dried food and guns and ammunition. And none of those things, I'm not saying those are bad, but none of those things will prepare you for all the things that are coming upon the earth. And the number one thing that we all need to do is we need to seek God and be spiritually prepared for what's coming. And so whenever we talk about these topics, I want to be careful. And so like when I say I don't want to be callous with calling these an End Times podcast, Jesus told his followers to be looking for the signs of his return 2,000 years ago. And the word talks about, like, we don't know the day or the hour. This is Matthew 24:36. Jesus told his disciples, the day and the hour knows no man, not even the angels in heaven, but my Father only, is what Jesus said. And so I always want to be very careful every time we do one of these podcasts to say, we're not predicting a date or a time. If you see or hear someone that does that, you should run, because Jesus said that Jesus himself did not know. So how is a minister that follows Jesus going to know if Jesus doesn't know, right? Not the angels in heaven. Only the Father knows the date or the hour. However, Jesus also said that we should look at the signs of the time. We should look just like when you look at the sky and you can tell, hey, it looks like rain. It looks like bad weather is coming. I'm going to prepare for the bad weather that's coming. In the same way, those of us who follow Jesus should be able to look at the Word of God and see the things that were said to be signs of the end, of the birth pains. And when we see those things, we can take notice and begin to prepare. And so just put this little slide up. It's Matthew 24:8 in that same passage there. Jesus was talking about so many things that would be the beginning of birth pains. They wouldn't be all the birth pains. They would be the beginning of birth pains. Wars and rumors of wars. We talk about that a lot on this podcast. We've talked about earthquakes and famines and false messiahs, those who have a false gospel. All of these are signs. They're beginning of birth pains. And remember, when a woman is going to give birth, like, she will have her first contraction. Never happened to me, okay? I've been around when it happened a couple of times. But when the first contraction comes, it may be a long time before the next contraction comes. But as the day comes, or the hour, the moment comes closer and closer and closer, those birth pains get closer and closer together. And so what we're seeing right now in the world, and of course, if you're following the program and you watch the news shows, and thank you for your love and support, we get lots of letters about those. I'm glad. It actually, doing the news shows is freeing us up to talk about some other topics instead of just the geopolitics and the war stuff that I've talked about a lot before. If you're watching those things, you're going to understand that so much is happening in the news right now that Chris and I sometimes will be saying, I really need to do a news show.
Right.
I'll tell Chris or whoever, I need to do a news show. And if I can't get to it that day, 2 days later, when it's time to get to it, the news stories that I was going to focus on are now old, stale news. And there's these huge stories now that have happened in the last 48 hours. And that's what's happening. Things are moving so fast.
And it's never been like that.
It's never been
not this quickly.
And so in the same way that geopolitics and things are developing, World War is coming. If you watch the news shows, you know that you can see like these storylines developing. But it's not just the wars, right? There's other ways that the enemy, and just says in John chapter 10, the enemy has come to steal, kill, and destroy. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And so I want to talk about the ways that the enemy has set up his plan to steal, kill, and destroy our health, our sanity, our families. There's so many ways that he's playing the long game, man. And he's got so many irons in the fire right now. And we're only going to be able to address just a few of them. But having said that, I'm going to pitch it to Andy so she can address the first of those topics today.
And I would say too, like I'm not one personally who focuses a lot on like the end times. Like I think if we did know the day or hour, our human nature would be like, well, I'm going to wait until the day before.
Exactly.
Then I'll get ready. Right.
Fascinators.
But I'm trying to live a lifestyle of staying ready.
Amen.
Where that's just how we are. Like you're ready any day, any hour. Right. So, and that's my hope for you is not to have any kind of fear or dread about some unknown, undisclosed day or hour, but to right now that we're ready every day to meet our Maker. And so I was going to talking about health. He mentioned I want to talk about plastics. So you show my first slide.
Yes.
Plastic. It's everywhere. Turns out plastic is really cheap to manufacture, to make. We do it in a huge excess. Back in the day, not even that long ago, you would have your milk freshly delivered in glass bottles. Even like when I was a kid, all the Coca-Cola commercials, Coca-Cola came in a glass bottle, right? Like juice came in a glass bottle. The plastic is a new thing. And as with everything else, the reason is money, is profit, is the margins, and that they don't care that it's destroying our planet, that it's destroying our bodies, that it's destroying us. And it's everything. Like, and then my next slide is my TV dinners. Everything is a plastic now. Like, I mean, your drinks, your food, I mean, everything comes in it. It's everywhere. We touch it every day. Not just America, but worldwide, we are making 400 million metric tons of plastic a year.
Wow.
So I looked up, like, what does that compare to? Because, like, these numbers, like, my brain doesn't really compute what 400 million metric tons is, right? Yeah. That's about the weight of our entire population.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
And that's up from, in 2019, so that's 5-6 years ago on this data, we were at 368 million metric. Okay. So we've already up 40 something million, and they're projecting in like 2050, it's going to be like 110 million.
Golly.
Because we live in single serve now, right? We consume it in a water bottle and then it gets thrown away. We don't refill anything. We don't use something more than once. And so we have an excess of these plastics, of this trash. So that means, right, it ends up in our landfills and our oceans and our other waterways, right? So it is getting into show my next slide maybe. This is, I don't know if you can see at the top there, that's boats. This is a coastline. And of course, most of the trash washes up in, the other countries besides America that don't have all of the expenses to clean up their coast, like India and the Philippines and all these places. So all of that trash getting into your water, right, into your ocean, is part of your rain cycle, right? So that's in your water that then goes into your clouds and then comes down not just on India's coast, but on your farmland, on your crops, on the things that you're eating. It's in your sky. It's everywhere around us, unfortunately, is all these plastics. And the reason I'm trying to tell you about these plastics is because there's a big thing now about microplastics and nanoplastics. Microplastics are like about the size of an eraser or smaller. And then nanoplastics are like not being able to see with your human eye. But the thing is, like, plastic, it never degrades. It never fully goes away, but it comes apart. It gets like unbonded, right? And so that's how you can get, I think maybe I have another picture. I just wanted to show you, right, the consumption.
Goodness gracious.
The consumption of plastics that we have. And that's one of the things, is we're told by the mass companies, these huge corporate companies, right? They'll put these little symbols on the bottom of your detergent bottle that's like, look, you can recycle this. And it's a psychological game they play on us because only about like 5% of plastic actually gets recycled. And the thing is, to recycle is cost effective. It takes up huge amounts of space. It's actually cheaper. That's why we do these single serves, because it's cheaper to make new plastic than to recycle it. So we have huge consumptions. And so then maybe my next slide was the hands.
Yep.
I just want to show you, plastic, it gets broken down into these tiny little pieces and then in tinier and tinier. Like once it gets run over on the runway or gets out into the ocean, whatever, it can get into these even smaller particles that you're even breathing in just from outside. Like I think it's hard for our minds, like when we talk about your body is ingesting nanoplastics, like that sounds like, well, how? Why? But it's the consumption, the amount of production we have of plastics is all around us. So the thing is, in these plastics, they contain something called EDCs. It's endocrine disrupting chemicals. This is like a really big deal. These EDCs, they don't bond to the plastic permanently. So what happens is they leach out of the plastic. So that you'll hear a lot about, like in plastic bottles, once they get hot in transportation or whatever, it actually leaches into your water. I mean, so think about everything, like every TV dinner that gets sent on a truck across states, like all of these things, it's not just coming to your house and it's just there for that time, right? Like, I mean, stuff is sitting on shelves and sitting in this plastic for, I mean, literally years, leaching into the foods that we're eating. And the reason why we care is because these EDCs are disrupting your endocrine system. Okay, your endocrine system is like a really big deal. Now maybe you can show my picture. Okay, so your endocrine glands, like what is that exactly? Like that's not, I don't know if you paid attention in science class or anatomy and all that stuff, but I did not. So your endocrine system is mostly made of tissues. It's glands that create and release hormones. And I think when we hear hormones, we just think of like estrogen and testosterone, but it's not just those things. Like your hormones is a huge part of how your body operates and how it's able to function. It controls so much of your mood, of how you feel, how your thyroid works, your metabolism, it's everything, okay? Hormones are chemicals that coordinate different functions in your body, carrying messages through your blood. So these plastics get into your blood system. And those are carried to all your organs, your skin, your muscles, other tissues. Like I want you to think it's not just like this one concentrated area. Your entire body is being disrupted by these chemicals. I think I forgot to tell you, listen to this. More than 10,000 chemicals are identified as plastic additives. Like how are there even 10,000 chemicals in existence?
It's shocking. Right.
But that is what's used to make your plastic. I mean, the amount of forever chemicals and plastics is insane. And okay, so you have more than 50 different types of hormones. And I'm just telling you this because it affects nearly all aspects of your health. Your metabolism, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your body temperature, the fluid you retain, your electrolytes, your growth and development, sexual function, reproduction, and your sleep-wake cycle. I just want to show you that slide again, right? Because I just want you to see all of, like, this is a part of all of your body, like your lungs, your gut, your brain. I mean, all of this is being affected. Like the hypothalamus is right, your brain, your pancreas, your digestive system, your body fat running through your whole body, okay? Ovaries, which produces eggs, which is then affecting our children. Your testicles, like your testosterone, digestive tract, kidneys, liver, heart. All of this causes damage at cellular level. This is big deal. This is serious. Listen to this. Talking about brains, most people's brains now contain a plastic spoon's worth of microplastics.
Oh, that is crazy. Wow.
Like we're like, man, I'm so tired. I have so much fatigue. I can't think straight. I have ADD.
Wow.
You have a plastic spoon's worth of plastics in your brain.
My goodness.
And that's us right now. Think about our children and our children's children.
Poor babies. My goodness.
They've done tests. Plastics, the nanoplastics are found in breast milk. They're found in the placenta that's carrying the baby. They find it, they've tested it in your stool, right? Like you are intaking it. It is happening.
Yeah.
This isn't like, because I think you think like, well, it's just those hippies talk about these crazy things. Like it's not real, like it's some conspiracy, like it's just a gimmick. But these are serious topics. Okay, and the reason I want to tell you about all this, okay, because these hormone disruptors, this endocrine disruption is affecting our hormones. Like it causes diabetes and cancers, tumors, obesity, infertility, growth hormone deficiency and excess, acne, osteoporosis. Like it's, I'm just trying to get you to see it's like everything.
Yeah.
And, it's like, what do we do about it, right? But,
okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say for me, myself, right? Like, I've tried to improve. I have a plastic water bottle right here, as a matter of fact, right now that I'm drinking. But I have tried, like, not to drink, like, to continually drink the bottles, right? Like, since I've found out some stuff, like, I will refill the bottle. But now I'm learning, or I'm starting to think, well, probably shouldn't use the plastic at all, right?
Right.
And, I've gotten to where like microwave, that's a whole different thing, right? But the plastic, that you use for the microwave.
Like Tupperware and stuff?
Yeah, like Tupperware. I went to the glass stuff. Right, which is better. So, you do the best. You make these little adjustments.
Which I was going to get to that, right? Because I know you're in prison. And I know that probably everything you drink is like a water bottle or a styrofoam or like a 50-year-old plastic cup that's been washed 100 times. Like I see you guys in chapel, right, with your cups. I know you can't change those things. And there are ways your body, so talking about how they've done these stool sample tests, that it is able to get excreted out of your body. There are things that you can do. Like, you want to drink lots of fluids, you want to sweat, and you want to exercise. And even taking deep breaths helps your body detox. I mean, God knew all things, right? He's outside of time and space. He knew what human beings were going to do. And he made our bodies with an ability to detox some of these things. I would just want you to maybe try and do those things, right? So try and, because your body will sweat some of those toxins out. It's made to do that. And there's some, like a trampoline that's like the little mini ones that like looks like it's for babies, so not like an adult size trampoline. It's just a little trampoline. It's called a rebounder. And that particular motion of the bouncing, which you can do without a trampoline, just, maybe for us old people, it'll hurt your knees sooner, but you can just bounce up and down or do like those like calf, like lift up.
Calf raises.
50 times. Calf, look, there's an actual name for it. And those things will begin to stimulate your lymphatic system, and your lymphatic system will drain, and it will get some of those toxins out. And so I'm not trying to say like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I mean, it is awful, but there are some things you can do about it. But the whole reason I wanted to tell you guys that this is happening is because it affects our hormones so much.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, since it's in so much of, it's in the breast milk, it's in the placenta, it's causing developmental abnormalities. It's causing sex reversals and intersex variations. Like there's whole studies of like amphibians and frogs that, because they're in their water and our water is so polluted and toxic, they can't even reproduce because all of the frogs have female and male parts or whatever, so they can't even reproduce. They can't even mate.
Wow.
And that's because, we can test on a frog's lifespan easier than we can a human's, like 80 years, right? Like the things that are happening inside of us. I was going to show this other picture because there's this thing. It's called, it's a weird word, so I can't
Hirsutism.
Yeah. Where you get excess hair in women, okay? Like, because the thing is the testosterone levels, we're having record levels of infertility and record levels of low testosterone. Your estrogen, your testosterone, that like, you have groups of men who have this high testosterone where like, maybe you're like, I didn't mean to beat that guy so badly at the club that night when I got mad, but there's like this testosterone inside of us. Everything's off kilter. Everything's out of whack. And it's affecting us where you have a rage and an anger and you have all of this stuff pumping through you. Or we have men who have no testosterone, their estrogen is up. And you have this docile people that are, side note that the government would love that. Like if they can control us, if they can make us sick, if they can make us fatigued, those are all great things. And they love it. So they're not concerned about fixing this in any way. So like that, when I was mentioning the hypothalamus, like you think that's a weird word, reminds me of hippos or something, hippopotamus, hypothalamus. Like what does that even do, okay, in your brain? Well, it regulates your androgens, okay? That's your steroid hormones. And so this can trigger development of male characteristics. Like we have women who are growing full on beards. And I wanted to show you like not a stressful picture like this. I watched these videos of like these women with like full on biker men beards, like grooming it, like having to shave it. Like our hormones are so out of whack and out of functioning in their intended proper way that it is like there's a whole people of androgynous people, right? Where your sex hormones are so out of place that you have men with women characteristics and women with men's characteristics from their hormones. And so I just want to tell you this too, because like I watched this video of this woman with this full beard, and as she's growing this beard in like her 20s, because this is like an onset for women in adulthood, it's messing with her psychological.
Yes.
Like here I am, a woman, and I'm growing a beard, right? Like we have all these things that are being affected. So like if we're feeling like I'm not normal or there's something wrong with me, we are sick. Our bodies are sick. So, I mean, there are a lot of spiritual things that are happening. There's spiritual attacks on our masculinity and our femininity. Like those are being under attack. But our physical bodies are also really sick. And it is our hormones.
Yeah, it's easy to see how, there can be so much of the gender confusion that we have going on in the world today when all these chemicals are disrupting the balance in the body that causes us to have, the feelings of masculinity or femininity or whatever it is.
Right. And you couple that with, the devil has a plan for our life. There's an assignment,
Yes.
for us. There was an assignment for me to be a drug addict. Right. That, that was the devil's plan for my life, and since I didn't put God first in my life, I didn't follow God or whatever, however you want to say it, there's really no middle ground with this, because we are in a war. So it's either, you're following God's plan for your life or you end up following the devil's plan for your life.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just how it goes, then you couple all this stuff,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's multiple things working against.
Yeah. I've had the opportunity to minister to a young woman a lot recently and developed a relationship, discipling her. And what the way that God gave to me to minister to her was to tell her that the enemy has a custom-made plan for her life. He has a custom-made plan for all of our lives. He wanted you to be a drug addict. That was the plan he thought would be most successful. And so I was telling this young woman, because she's a real pretty girl and she was in high school. She got to go to the homecoming dances and the prom and all that stuff. And I told her, when you go to buy a dress for the prom or the homecoming dance, you don't just buy it off the rack and put it on and it fits. And like when you were going to go and do the wedding for Sam and Sean, you didn't just buy a suit. They had to alter it, right? They alter the dress. They take it in, they bring it out, they fit it to your exact frame.
Yes.
And that's what the enemy has done. And some of you may be wondering, how do these plastics and how do these endocrine disruptors, how do they fit in with the enemy's plan?
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we said he's come to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And these endocrine disruptors, and we're going to talk some more in a minute about the food supply, and Andy's talked about that before. These are not harmless, benign effects of progress of man. Like the globalists and the people who run the corporations and the people who run the countries, they know all these things happen.
Right.
These are well-documented effects. This isn't like, oh my goodness, I can't believe phthalates affect the endocrine system and create disruption. They know that.
Yes.
In the same way that the food and our products are designed to make us unhealthy, in the same way, the whole supply chain system of plastics is designed to make us unhealthy. The enemy is behind this plan. It is part of dumbing us down and making us weak and docile and bringing us out of balance. And, you talked a little bit about affecting even gender roles. The endocrine disruptors also affect emotions.
Yes.
They affect the way that we feel. And so many people are struggling and they talk about, well, I just feel like this.
Yeah.
I feel like that. Those were not the natural feelings that God created when he created us in the garden perfectly, Adam and Eve. That's not his intention. These are all effects of the fall. It's all the effect of sin coming into the world and the enemy injecting his plan. And ever since then, we've been slowly deteriorating from the perfect creation of God in the garden. And so now we've reached this point where he created them male and female, And now, because of these things created by man, progress, there is becoming less and less male and female, two genders, as God created. And I want you to know it is all part of the enemy's plan. Your emotions have been affected by this.
Yes.
Your physical characteristics have been affected by this. And it is a wicked, sinister plan. And that's why we're exposing it on this program. We want you to know if we can undermine the lie of the enemy by bringing understanding of how this has happened, that is our prayer.
Yes. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you think about that, right? And it's like, okay, will the devil go through all that trouble just for me or just for you? And as you've heard, that Jesus died, for our sins, and he would have done it just for one person.
Amen.
Right. And it's the same way. We can't grasp how big this spiritual world is, this spiritual plan, this spiritual realm is, and how it functions. That, yes, the devil will come after you to ruin your life like you're the only person
That's right.
in the world. That plan is so custom made and so specific to you. That's why we need God in our life. You have to have God's plan in your life and a pursuit of God.
Amen.
Yeah, and I think like what you were saying too, that those things coupled together, like you have bodies that are sick and hormones that are out of balance, our psychological, our emotional things are all that's out of balance. And like, I told you, I started getting molested when I was 5 years old. So that happened by a peer, another child. Like for a long time, I didn't even know that I was being molested because I had been taught in school, like stranger danger and like to look out for the white van with no windows and this like elderly man that was going to try and drive me into the van with candy. I didn't know that it would be a peer, another child that was my age. It was my friend that we played together. So once that started happening, the boundaries of my body, that affected the rest of my life because those boundaries for my body disappeared, right? Those were gone. That was taken down. And so that allowed in a perversion in my life that was never supposed to be there. And you have all these things working together in this custom-made plan, right? You have a sick body, and I really was sick. I was born with a heart problem, and I was actually very physically sick. Then you have the spirits that are led into my life and the spirits of perversion that are coupled onto my life and the lies that the enemy is working all the time. Even things like my name is Andrea. And my sister started, my maiden name was Boyd. I might have told you this. And my sister started calling me Andy, like Andy Griffith, like Andy is a boy. Andy is a boy, because I was a real big tomboy. So she started this thing to be mean to me. And then turns out like it stuck and I liked it because I was a tomboy. I was like, I like that name, Andy. It's way better than Andrea. But like he's working all of these things to try and destroy your life and give you a false identity, an identity separate from what Christ has given you, right? And oftentimes it's the opposite.
Right.
It's not just a little off kilter. It's like the opposite of who you are. Like you think you're an introvert, but no, actually you're an extrovert. Like you think all sorts of things. So I just want you to know, like if you've dealt with confusion or you feel out of whack or you feel strange or you feel weird or, you're a girl growing a beard or you're a man with no beard, like all these things are not just our fault, like these are things that are being done to us. Our bodies are sick.
Yes.
And we're being affected.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next topic, I did have to say, Andy, that I've thought about this while you were talking. Have you ever heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch?
No.
So in the Pacific Ocean between California and Hawaii, there is a patch of garbage floating that is roughly twice the size of Texas.
Gross.
Yeah. And so it's not like a solid mass so much, but there's lots of floating stuff and lots, massive quantity of microplastics. And it's just this big, bouncing, nasty collection. The currents have brought it all together in this one kind of spot that goes all the way down the water column of microplastics and fishing nets and all this stuff. And we'll show you a little video and some photos here so you can see it, to just give you an example of how bad the contamination has gotten. And this is the price of progress. And the effects of it are just so serious. But there's hope in Jesus.
Yes.
Because he with God, all things are possible. Like there's nothing that he can't heal. He can't change. He's in the business of healing bodies and minds
and there's
emotions.
Always something to learn and do from everything. Like even in stuff like this, God convicts me about like, we're going to have to answer for not taking care of this creation that he created. That we're going to have to answer for killing all of this marine life, for destroying the planet that we were given to steward and to govern. I mean, those things make me want to be more mindful of how I'm living in rest of creation.
Amen.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so Carl, you're up.
Show me what you got.
Okay. So I just wanted to just give you some facts about, things that are going on out there that you might not know about. So I wanted to show, I got some slides here. So let's go through these slides a little bit. So this is a slide of actual Chinese farmland ownership in the United States. And as of February 25th February 2025, this is the ownership of the land is 384,000 acres of farmland that the Chinese own in the U.S., which is kind of weird. Yeah, especially like we haven't been on very good terms for a while now. Right. They've been threatening to take Taiwan, which is, it's just a whole big kind of battle disagreement we're having with them and been having for a long time. So it's kind of weird. And if we'll go to the next slide.
Well, hold on. Before you go to the next slide,
go ahead.
You didn't mention this about this map, and we got to mention it. It's not just where the farmland is located. I mean, how much farmland there is, it's where it's located. It's all right next to critical Air Force and Army bases. Yeah. And what I love about this map that you've shown us here is it shows the proximity of that. And it's terrifying. Like, I can't imagine that they're going to allow this to stand. I think actually the president and some people in Congress are trying to work on fixing this because this is
I've already
insane.
seen some of that. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I was just going to show you the breakdown actually by states. If you'll show the next slide here.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you a state breakdown of kind of what they own and where. And this next slide. So this is the actual, the Congressional Western Caucus, Dan Newhouse. He wrote an op-ed for Newsweek magazine, I believe it was last year, emphasizing the national security risk of American farmland owned by foreign adversaries and begged the Appropriations Committee to take action. And I wanted to read, part of this paragraph that Dan Newhouse wrote. It says the Chinese Communist Party has launched a multi-tiered campaign to acquire critical assets within the United States, collect new data on American citizens, and influence our institutions. Part of this campaign involves purchasing American farmland, often near sensitive military sites, thereby putting our supply chains, food security, and national security at risk. While this may sound like the beginning of a bad novel, I can assure you the threat is very real. Wow. And so he goes on to this whole, article about this. And this is a congressman, right, doing this. And so if you'll go to the next slide. So there was some action taken, right? July 25th, here Trump launches national farm security ban to ban China's farmland purchases. They labeled it as a national security threat.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Yeah, so while it took so long to kind of figure that out, which is really weird and put a stop to it.
Mind-boggling. Yes.
It's almost like they were being allowed to do it, let's go to another slide here. So this is drones that were spotted near at least 17 military bases located next to the Chinese-owned land in U.S.
Nothing to see here.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. That is nuts.
And again, I'm just giving you information here. You can kind of draw your own conclusions of what's going on because a lot of this stuff is not talked about.
Well, can I just say while you're on this spot, like the drone spotted near the military bases, it is well known and proven, although they don't talk about it in the news media, there's an entire army from China that is present in the United States on American soil.
Right.
We several years ago when we first started doing these End Times podcasts, we showed video of the lines and lines of Chinese military-aged males. Just a whole line of them. No wives, no kids. They're not immigrants. They're coming into the United States. There is zero doubt, but what they are here in anticipation of one day, the war popping off between China and the United States. And the goal would be to have an army inside the continental United States. The reason why the United States is the world's only superpower, one of the main reasons, is we're surrounded on almost all sides by water, and we have friendly nations to the north and south, and we have never been successfully invaded. And I think China, they invented strategy games like 2,000, 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
They're playing a very long game. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that your headline here about drones spotted near these military bases, it's because there are whole squadrons of Chinese, probably special ops soldiers, like the best of the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chinese soldiers are here, and they maybe have a cover job, but they're ready for war. And they're right next to our military bases.
And there's a lot of, undocumented, illegal, immigrants here, Chinese immigrants here. Actually, 2 were arrested. I just saw on the news. I think it was right around Winsboro.
Wow.
2 were arrested. They were pulled over. They were illegal, and they had $10 million in cash in the trunk.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, I'm surprised the money got reported, but they were arrested because they couldn't document
we
the
money.
money
Have to find
or whatever.
that headline and slide that in.
Yeah, I should have got that.
For those of you who don't know, Winsboro, Texas is a town of 3,000 people that I grew up in. So, $10 million in Winsboro, Texas, that's something you see every day.
So, yeah. I mean, nothing to see there, I'm sure. Right. So, I wanted to just continue on. I wanted to share some information about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know who Bill Gates is, I think most of us do, but he's the founder of Microsoft. He's actually a big promoter of the COVID-19 vaccine, big investor. He also is buying up U.S. farmland. Surprise, surprise.
That's what every tech guy needs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Farmland.
I mean, it's just a natural progression. You would think, tech, vaccines, farmland. But Bill Gates, he buys farmland while promoting fake meat. So we got the little article here, and I'm laughing. I'm sorry, but this is real stuff.
This is not fake news.
Also, on a side note, I didn't do the headline here, but he also has been he received USDA approval for his fake meat, which is not surprising because everything is about money,
right.
Obviously. I mean, if you have enough money, you can get anything to pass. So I have another, slide here. Continue to show you these. Bill Gates, at the point of this article, had 250,000 acres, I believe it says, of farmland. Last checked, today is up to 275,000.
Can I ask you a question, Carl?
Uh-huh.
How many acres did you say China had?
China, 384,000.
So take the 250 plus the 384,000, and that's a lot of acres of land.
Right.
Because I would say whether Bill Gates is a citizen of the United States or not, I'm not sure that he has the same interest as most of us here in the United States have, as far as our desires for the United Nation or for the United States.
Right.
So that is terrifying.
Yeah, and I have my opinions, of course. I'm just trying to put this out here so you can draw your own conclusions.
So what's he farming?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's not farming fake meat.
Right.
No, that's done in a lab somewhere. So
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, if we want to continue on here, I had a couple more slides I wanted to show you. This has actual farmland map.
You know what I want to do? I really want to line up the Chinese farmland map and see the actual acreage of their land with Bill Gates' land. I wish we could see that. I would be curious to know if they're
next to each other,
located in some way. But yeah. Anyway, it's just looking at the states, it looks like they're probably going to be,
right,
pretty near.
And I wanted to show you this next article here. This is Bill Gates and his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that he got some investors to go in on him, which is that's Jeff Bezos, which is
Amazon
founder.
Richard Branson, Virgin.
Right.
Yeah.
Rich and powerful men.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of wanted to sit there for a minute, right? So Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, the largest private farm land owner in the U.S. according to Google. Interesting.
Yes.
A strange behavior, right, for a computer nerd, supposedly, a tech giant, right? But he also says that fake meat is actually better than real meat. So Bill Gates, not a medical doctor, not a healthcare professional, and yet he is a leading figure in global healthcare policy. So it's very strange times we live in.
Yes.
Bill Gates is also one of the most influential voices in global vaccine advocacy, which is very interesting, right? He's invested billions in vaccines, billions. And I have a little video that I wanted to show you, and we're going to insert that right here.
Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
So he says in this video, right, that he says, and this is not a pronunciation or something he didn't mean to say, obviously very meant to say it, is that if they could lower the population by 10 to 15% using vaccines, that was their goal, right, to lower the population. And I just want to give you a couple of facts here, haven't heard that, right? Let me give you this fact. In 1975, the year I was born, there was 8 vaccine doses that were recommended by the age of 18 for a child. 8. They protected against like polio, the measles, the mumps, smallpox. So today in 2026, the recommendation is actually 70 doses.
Oh, come on.
By the age of 18.
Goodness gracious.
Another fact here, in 1975, 1 in 5,000 children were diagnosed with autism. In the year 2025, 1 in 31 children are considered on the autism spectrum. That's a 1,000% increase.
Oh my goodness.
Let me give you a little bit of fact here too. So medication and doctor care costs for children with autism actually ranges from $6,500 a year to $13,500 a year in adults. That's just the medication. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's a lot of money to be made here, right? And all these things that we've been talking about as far as the plastics and, the vaccines and, things like that. There's just a lot of money to be made in this stuff. Now, like I said, I'm just trying to give you facts. You can draw your own conclusions here. But I want to show you another slide here. It's a very, very interesting slide and article there too. And like you can draw your own conclusions, and I'm not saying that the whole COVID-19 vaccine, it wasn't just a money grab, I'm sure. Even though, I can attest to it, right? That at the time when all the COVID thing happened, and people were really getting sick, I was working at a dealership in Rockwall, Texas, and, there were people getting sick, and some people would get sick and some people wouldn't. I don't know the reasons for that, but I know that they come out with a vaccine and then they wanted to mandate it, at my job. And so they called all of us into the office one by one. They were like, look, you're going to have to get vaccinated or you cannot work here anymore. And I refused it. And they just kind of let it go for a little while. Then they would put some pressure on you, like, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? And it's like, no, I haven't done it. And, come to find out, after about a year, it just kind of blew over, and I talked to so many people during this time, customers coming in and buying a car that were getting forced, at their job, whether it's healthcare or just the local Costco, like getting forced into this vaccine, or you threaten to get terminated.
Yeah.
And so many people would say, well, I just did it, because I didn't want to lose my job, and almost every person I talked to regretted doing it. Right. And there were certain people I talked to one lady, she came in, she lost all her hair like 2 days after she did it. It's like her skin was like burnt, these are firsthand accounts, that I got personally from people. And, just to top it all off, right? Like they ended up changing their mind about it, right? They were like, okay, if you don't get this vaccine, you're going to die. Like you get COVID-19, you don't have this vaccine, you're going to die. Well, then they backed off that and they were like, well, you're not going to die. But if you don't get the vaccine, you're going to get way, way, way sicker. Right. And then after a while, they kind of backed off that too, and said, well, actually, we come to find out the vaccine really doesn't work. Right. Yeah. And so it's like everybody was pushed into putting this chemical that we didn't even know about, that wasn't tested properly, into their body. And it's just along the same lines that we're talking about, that what do we put into our body? What do people, what kind of chemicals are in our body from that time? And it's just, I just want to point out some of these things, right? That so many things in this world, they're just not as they seem.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And, and if you got vaccinated, I'm not saying that something bad is going to happen to you or anything like that. I'm just saying, the deception going on, in the world, and, getting pushed into doing these things that are potentially harmful, to our bodies. And I'm not saying any of this to scare anybody or anything like that. This is certainly not about, putting fear or anything like that into anybody. Every time we do one of these shows, we get some letters like, oh, you guys are just, you're fear mongering. And, that's not the intention of any of this, but I feel like, okay, if I know something to be true, like I feel like I'm at fault if I don't tell you about it, at least, so you get some understanding for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You can make your own choices and decisions. And I don't want to scare anybody, but I want you to have information and knowledge and understanding so you can make the right decision for yourself. The scripture, right, that we reference a lot is 2 Timothy 1:7 says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay, so if you look up the definition of a sound mind, it means the mental capacity to understand one's actions, decisions, and their consequences. So if we don't have this information and knowledge and understanding of what's really going on, then we don't have a sound mind. Mm-hmm. We don't understand, the full scope of things that we can make, a conscious decision based on consequences that may happen. So that's all our goal is, right? Is just to give you some understanding, because I know a lot of you, you don't get this kind of news and stuff, so, that's part of it, right? And I also wanted to read this verse out of Proverbs 22:3. It says that a prudent person or a wise person foresees danger and takes precautions.
Come on.
The simpleton goes on blindly and suffers the consequences.
Yeah.
So we're giving you this real information for your understanding. The word says that my people perish from a lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And, that's speaking of a spiritual sense, that verse is, but it's also talking about real life situations. People perish from a lack of knowledge. So, that's the goal, right? Just to give you some understanding and just to hit on some of this stuff so you got a better understanding of what's going on.
I think too, we call we were saying how it's an end times thing. Like, I don't want to just be prepared to meet my maker when the world ends and this.
Amen.
Like, I mean, our bodies are sick. They are harming us. There are things that are wrong. I want to be prepared to meet my maker today. Like, there was a news story because this actor, James Van Der Beek, he was popular when I was a teenager. He was on Dawson's Creek. He died today at 48 years old from colorectal cancer. Mm-hmm. Like, all of our lifespans is not 100 years old.
Right.
I want to take the knowledge to live the healthiest life I can, but also to know that my days are numbered. I want to be a good mother. I want to use these days wisely. I want to do what God has for me. I don't want to waste my time because I don't know how much time I have. Right. And I don't know what the world is coming to. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what Bill Gates and these Chinese people are doing with this farmland. I don't know what lies ahead. So I just want to be ready.
Right. So many things there. I just want to address the fear-mongering because Carl is right. We've always gotten letters every time we do one of these podcasts. And sometimes I share a picture of an ostrich with his head stuck in the sand because there are some people who really just prefer not to hear anything about bad news. And if I don't hear it, like hear no evil, see no evil, if I don't listen to it, it's not happening. But to the person that thinks for whatever reason that we're trying to fearmonger, I thought again about the hurricane example. So if I live in Galveston, Texas, or somewhere in Florida, and I'm watching the news and I see them saying a Category 5 hurricane is headed straight from my city and it's going to be here day after tomorrow. And I walk outside and I see my little old lady neighbor and she's just out there and she's in her flower bed. And it's obvious to me that she hasn't heard the warnings.
Right.
If I really think that to tell someone that something is coming is fear-mongering, like, am I really not going to tell my little old lady neighbor that I love and is a sweet old lady? Am I not going to tell her the hurricane, Category 5 hurricane's about to be here day after tomorrow? You've got to make preparations because I don't want to make her afraid. Mm-hmm. Like, that is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous assertion. I am going to tell people that I love, and I love all y'all, Vida Nation. I'm going to tell you about the Category 5 hurricane that the enemy has coming our way. Like, we know from the word of God it's coming. I don't know exactly what day it's going to be here, but I know that it's coming. And I know that we need to be ready. And it's not fear-mongering to tell people that I care about, hey, there's things you got to do. You got to get ready. You got to be aware of what's coming. So it is a really silly thing to talk about fear-mongering. We just want to have a sound mind. And as Carl said, you can't have a sound mind without information.
Right.
You can't make sound decisions without understanding what the information is and what the options are. So, going back to your video that you played of Bill Gates, if you've been in prison a long time, you may not have ever seen this video. All of us who are in the free world and are watching these things, we've seen this video multiple times. And every time I see it, my mind is blown that the third or fourth richest person in the world, who is regarded by the globalist media as maybe the most noble person because he has the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they give all this money and they're doing all these projects, right? And they're just such wonderful humanitarians. And I'm listening to this humanitarian saying that if we do a really good job, we're going to bring down the global population by vaccines. Like, vaccines are supposed to extend life, to save life, to prevent illness. And I'm listening to you, and we know he didn't misspeak because he's behind the vaccines and he's a huge depopulation advocate. Yeah. Like, one of his main things that he has spent billions and billions on is bringing down the global population. I will just tell you, I'm going to put up a picture here of the Georgia Guidestones that were erected in Atlanta, Georgia area in 1980 overnight by a mystery person with more or less the Satanist plan for mankind. And the Satanist plan for mankind, per the Georgia Guidestones, is a population of no more than 500 million. 500 million. Yeah, 500 million. And we are at 8.5 almost billion right now. So they got a long way to go. Like, there's literally no way they get there without global nuclear war and pandemics and vaccines that kill people. But if you haven't heard, this is not a controversial thing that we're saying about the COVID-19 vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine, it is an open secret. Everyone knows that is paying attention, and most people don't. The COVID-19 vaccine was completely ineffective. It was very, very harmful. And there are so many studies now that are showing how deadly and dangerous it was. And as Carl said, if you got vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine, we're not trying to cause fear. I want you to be ready the next time they come to you and hand you a vaccine to, in the words of Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. You need to make sure, has this been tested? They did no testing of that vaccine. They rushed it out. And it's kind of suspicious when you see how long it takes for vaccines to be developed, that this mystery virus came out of the Wuhan lab in Wuhan, or came out of the wet market in Wuhan, China. And now it's a global thing. But you know what? We just so happen to already have a vaccine that's ready, that's prepared to roll out in a few months. That's a little suspicious. And it always blows my mind when I'm talking to prisoners, because I've talked to thousands of them, and I see them blindly trusting something like a vaccine. When if I have another conversation with you, you're going to question every authority figure. You're not going to believe something just because someone told you. But if someone tells you, hey, this vaccine, take this, the government, and we're the government, we're here to help. Like, you should pray about things. You should seek the will of God. You should exercise discernment. And so I'm just telling you, maybe a few years ago, the COVID-19 vaccine being bad was a controversial thing to say that maybe would have people knocking on the door of my studio, but it's not now. Right. Because there are so many studies, so much documented evidence of how dangerous it is. And I want you to remember that the next time these people push something as being for your health, it's for your good, trust us. And so it's just like the food, is just like the toxins in our food supply chain. There are dangers. And I want you to know, like the people who run this world, the prince of the power of the air, right? They do not have your best interest in mind. They are with the one who came to steal, kill, and destroy, not with the one who came to give you abundant life. And I want you to understand, it may not look like it. You may just see the enemy's attack on your life as drugs. The enemy's attack is molestation. The enemy's attack is violence and anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. But the enemy's attack on your life is also your physical body being polluted with contaminants that affect your emotions and disrupt your endocrine system and affect your food supply. All these are part of the enemy's attack. And so, as you can tell, I get a little passionate about this around here. I'm sorry. But I love Vida Nation, and I don't want you to be deceived in any area. And so what I want you to do is take all these things to prayer and be wise, be well informed, and don't have a spirit of fear, but have a sound mind. So, Andy, why don't you pray us out?
Okay. Heavenly Father, we come before you in agreement. God, we just place our lives in your hands. You're going to take control over all the things that matter, that you're going to be with us, that you're going to have us, that you're going to carry us. I just pray that you're going to give us wisdom and discernment and a spirit of sound mind, that we're going to be able to differentiate what's truth and what's lies in all areas, and that you're going to speak to us about things that we can do and help us to be at peace with the things that we can't do things about. I just pray that you're going to watch over us as you've already done, and you're going to continue to do so. We love you, God. We thank you for your faithfulness. Amen.
Hey guys, I just want to invite y'all to check out a new feature that we've been able to access on some of our tablets. If you will check, we've been able to upload some documents as PDFs that support the things that we're talking about on the podcast. We're going to do that for every single podcast that we have the ability to add those. So if you are interested in going further into some of the things we've discussed, check out the resources that are going to be below on each episode. Thanks.